Hey, what's up, blues fans? John with the Blues Guitar Institute here, and this is your Tuesday Blues, lesson number 35. To me, there is none other style of blues cooler than Piedmont blues. I don't know, there's just something so cool about the snappy melody and sort of the upbeat tempos in a lot of the Piedmont player songs like Blind Blake and Blind Boy Fuller and guys like that. I just really dig that sound. And recently, Jim Ford, who's a BGI member, reached out and requested a lesson on some Piedmont picking patterns. Say that 5 times fast. So, without further ado, let's grab the guitar and I'm going to show you a couple of really basic, fundamental building block type picking patterns that you can use in your Piedmont blues stuff. And of course, there's tabs to go along with the lesson that'll take you through not only the picking pattern, but then move through a couple of chords and you can actually kind of hear a little bit of a tune forming. So, with that, let's grab the guitar. Here we go. All right, we're going to start talking about Piedmont picking patterns by fretting up a C major chord. And I want to take you through an incredibly basic, just stripped down picking pattern that is going to serve as the foundation for the couple that we're going to learn after. And all of this is going to combine into a pattern that I use a ton when I'm picking some Piedmont blues. So I'm going to fire up my metronome. So I think it's really important when you're working on picking to make sure that your timing is down. And I'm going to set it to 100 beats per minute. And I'm going to fret up a C chord and talk to you about the pattern. First I'll play it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the pattern is really that C chord. I'm not moving my fret hand any, but I am doing an alternating bass with my picking hand, and if you notice, my thumb hit the string every time the metronome clicked, and it alternated between 5th string, 4th string, back and forth like this. So that's the basis of this thing. And then in the in-between beats, I picked this open 3rd string. And that may sound, really easy, but you'd be surprised at how long it took me to get that down in the early days on the guitar, and especially when you throw in a metronome and try to get that down, but then get it in time as well. So I really urge you to do that. Fire up your metronome and set it to a tempo that's comfortable to you. It can be much slower than that 100 beats per minute that I'm using, but just make sure that you're getting those notes to ring out nice and clear and in time, and the bass notes are pumping along with the clicks on the metronome. Okay, all right, so that's the basic building block that we're going to use, and the next thing we're going to do is what I call the inside picking pattern. And I call it inside because, as you'll hear, the notes sort of start from low to high. It doesn't really matter. This is just my way of kind of naming this pattern, and it's my way of thinking about these things as little building blocks. So here's this building block. This is the inside picking pattern. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for the inside picking pattern, all I really did was kept this thing going, but every other one reached up and grabbed the C note, which is the 1st fret on the 2nd string. You should practice it along with your metronome and make sure that you're getting those beats and the notes to pump out nice and cleanly and right on time. And then what you want to do after you've practiced that, and you can play this almost in your sleep, then let's move on from there and let's take a look at what I call the outside picking pattern. And this is very much the opposite from the inside. We start with the high note and work our way back down in the melody of this thing. So whereas the inside is this, the outside pattern is this. So you can hear it's like walking up and then walking back down. Inside and then outside. So let's take a listen to just the outside pattern for just a second. 2, 3, 4. Now, the cool thing in the very next pattern is really, it's a combination of both of these. It's, I like to call it inside out. And what we're going to do is start with the inside and finish it with the outside, and just kind of alternate those two back and forth. And it'll sound something like this. And believe it or not, that little move, if you walk through the basic building blocks like we just did, and you get to this, inside, outside, that makes up the basis for a lot of great Piedmont picking. So I really urge you to, again, fire up that metronome and practice along, and really work on this. And I recommend staying with this C chord for right now and just focusing on your finger picking. Focus on this hand and getting everything to sound really clearly and also in time. And once you're there, then you can move on. I've tabbed out a little quick tune for you that works through a few other chords. So if you're up to the challenge, we'll move from C through a G chord and a D chord. You can grab that tab back on the website. So there you go. There are a couple of really core, rock solid, fundamental picking patterns in the Piedmont Blues. I find myself playing, when I'm improvising, when I'm learning stuff, that these two patterns just sort of pop out in just about everything. So there's a lot that you can do with them, and we'll explore those in future lessons. But for right now, really focus on getting down the finger movements and the muscle memory, and building the accuracy, and just making this thing kind of automatic. It's really going to help you as you progress in your finger picking guitar, and especially if you dig Piedmont Blues like I do, this is a staple. You gotta have it. So big shout out and thank you to Jim Ford. I really appreciate you, bringing this up, because this is a huge idea and concept, and I hope everyone else really benefits from it. So with that, I'll see you next week.